Hello, this is Catherine from Accelerated Reader, reading books for you. Today, I will be reading Chapter 26 from Two Worlds, a novel of friends and foes from strange places by Laura T. Lee. Before I begin reading, I would like to give a big thanks to the author for sending me this book to read on my channel. In the description below, I've included links where you may find and purchase this book. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Chapter 26. 150 stories into the clouds. That's how tall the Eastern Tower was. Tara wondered what her chances of surviving the fall were. Next to her, Lily screamed and twisted in mid-air, barely dodging a piece of falling rubble. Her hair whipped around her face. Somehow she had managed to keep hold of Jake's sword and the loudspeaker. In front of Tara's eyes, the tower fell apart. Metal and rocks flew everywhere. She saw Stacy roll a still knocked out Jake to the cracked bridge connecting the towers to the central tower. Stacy managed to drag Jake across the bridge and into the central tower just as the structure crumbled into pieces. Truth be told, Tara wasn't surprised that the tower had collapsed. The weak wooden foundations underneath the building had rotted almost to non-existence years ago. She just hadn't anticipated it would happen so soon. The wind screamed louder than Lily, stinging her face and numbing her fingers. Below them, the elfin city stretched, a crowded landscape of houses and citizens. Right now, elves were probably screaming and running around in circles or gawking up at the rain of rubble. The tower just had to fall in the direction of an inhabited area. A flash of silver caught Tara's eye, and she crashed into something hard with a loud thump. She had fallen on top of a giant spaceship with Lily next to her. A compartment opened and Tara dropped through. Stacy sat in the aircraft's cockpit. When she looked at Tara and Lily, the color rushed back into her pale face. "Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I thought I would be too slow and—" "Be glad you weren't," Tara said. "How do you feel?" Stacy asked. "Better than me, probably," a voice said. Jake emerged from the back of the aircraft. A red bump had risen up on his forehead where the rock had hit him. He had gotten rid of his cape, which either meant he didn't want it anymore or it was too damaged and fell off by itself. "How do you feel?" Lily said. Jake gingerly touched the bump on his head and winced. "There's a splitting headache going on in my head." Do you want your sword back?" Lily asked. Jake shook his head. "You can keep it. Just give it back after this war ends." He unbuckled his sheath and tossed it to Lily. Unfortunately, Jake's head injury had screwed up his aim and Lily wasn't paying attention, so the sheath smacked her in the face. "Ow!" she complained. As she fastened it around her waist, Stacy said, "Guys, we have to concentrate. Any minute now, the tower rubble will crush the town. We need a plan." Tara ran to the window and swore. Stacy was right. Chunks of debris had already smashed into the ground, narrowly missing innocent elves. Lily ran over to the window and opened it, yelling into her loudspeaker, "Elves, if you don't want to be crushed by about 1,000,000 tons of rubble, run!" The words tore through the wind like a knife through tissue paper, and the elves below panicked, evacuating the city as fast as they could. Thankfully, no one questioned why there was a giant spaceship hovering above them. Tara stepped back and hit her head on the wall, which hurt, then stubbed her toe on the floor, which also hurt. As she cussed and tumbled around, Stacy dived toward the falling tower debris, professionally maneuvering through the rocks and metal that tumbled through the air. Tara clutched her stomach, trying not to throw up, as the aircraft did an unexpected turn. Lily staggered backward and dropped her loudspeaker. Her pale face was starting to turn green. "I hate flying," she yelled. "Well, too bad," Stacy said as she gripped the controls, her eyes staring straight out of the front windshield. Tara suddenly lost her balance and fell over. Jake slid across the floor. "What's going on?" he shouted. "I don't know," Tara shouted back. That was when the aircraft started to roll in the air. Stay tuned for Chapter 27. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. In the description below, I've included links where you may find and purchase this book.